What if you could just turn off your feelings when it hurts too much? Frieza, the coldest villain in Dragon Ball, did exactly that and became the most powerful being in the universe. But there was a brutal price. And every time you try to be strong and swallow what you feel, you're paying that same price. In the next few minutes, you'll discover why this could destroy you. Think about it. That text you got last week that made your stomach drop? You probably spent hours replaying it in your head. That embarrassing moment from 3 years ago that still makes you cringe at 2 a.m.? Yeah, you know the one. Now imagine, what if you could just delete all of that? Like wiping files from your hard drive. Gone. No more anxiety before big presentations. No more heartbreak. No more feeling small when someone puts you down. Sounds pretty good, right? Well, let me introduce you to someone who actually pulled it off. Frieza, the Emperor of Universe 7 in Dragon Ball Z. If you've never watched the show, here's all you need to know. This guy is the definition of cold. And I don't just mean personality-wise. His entire aesthetic screams, I feel nothing. He's a tyrannical alien warlord who rules through pure fear and power. But here's what makes him fascinating. He doesn't lose his cool. Ever. While everyone around him is panicking, sweating, begging for their lives, Frieza is calm, calculated, almost bored. There's this scene where he literally destroys an entire planet, killing millions of people in seconds. And his reaction? Nothing. No hesitation. No remorse. Not even a flicker of satisfaction. He just does it like you delete an email. That's the level of emotional detachment we're talking about here. And honestly, part of you probably admires that. Because we've all been there, wishing we could just not care. Wishing we had that kind of control where nothing gets to us. Where we're untouchable. But here's where things get interesting. What if I told you that Frieza's biggest strength was actually his greatest weakness? That the very thing that made him powerful is exactly what destroyed him? Stay with me, because what happens to Frieza? It's probably happening to you right now and you don't even realize it. So how does someone actually turn off their emotions? Because let's be real, you've probably tried it yourself. Maybe after a bad breakup, you told yourself, I'm done catching feelings. Or after getting burned at work, you decided to just keep it professional and stop caring so much. Sound familiar? Here's what's actually happening in your brain when you do this. There's this thing called emotional suppression, and psychologists have studied the hell out of it. Your amygdala, that's your brain's alarm system. It's screaming threat, pain, danger. But your prefrontal cortex, the logical part, just puts a hand over its mouth and says, shh, we're not dealing with this right now. It's like hitting the mute button on your internal fire alarm while the house is still burning. And Frieza? He's a master at this. But here's what makes him even more complex. The dude's a textbook narcissist. I'm talking clinical-level personality traits here. He has zero genuine empathy. Everyone around him is just a tool. His right-hand men, Zarbon and Dodoria, he treats them like disposable coffee cups. The second they're not useful, he kills them without a second thought. There's no friendship there, no loyalty, no connection, just utility. Now you might be thinking, okay, but that means he really doesn't feel anything, right? He's truly emotionless? Wrong. And this is the plot twist. Frieza absolutely has emotions. Big ones. You know how I can tell? Watch what happens when Goku starts beating him. This emotionless emperor loses his damn mind. He's screaming, throwing tantrums. His pride is shattered into a million pieces. The rage is pouring out of him like a broken dam. So what's really going on? Frieza didn't erase his emotions. He cherry-picked them. He kept the ones that made him feel powerful, pride, anger, superiority. But he crushed everything that made him feel vulnerable. Fear, compassion, doubt, connection. He convinced himself this was control, this was strength. But suppressing emotions doesn't make them disappear. It's like taking painkillers for a toothache without treating the infection. Sure, you feel better for a bit, but that infection? It's growing, spreading, getting worse. And eventually, it's gonna take you down. Let me ask you something. Who's the last person you were completely real with? Like, actually vulnerable. No filters, no I'm fine, no pretending. Can you even remember? Because here's what happens when you go full Frieza mode. You end up completely alone. And I don't mean physically alone. Frieza has an entire army. He's surrounded by people constantly. But does he have a single friend? Not one. Not a single person who actually knows him or cares about him beyond fear. He built an empire, but he's trapped in a prison of his own making. And science backs this up hard. Dr. John Cacioppo spent decades researching loneliness, and his findings are brutal. Chronic emotional isolation doesn't just hurt your feelings, it literally damages your body. It increases inflammation, weakens your immune system, messes with your sleep. Your brain treats loneliness the same way it treats physical pain. Because to your nervous system, emotional connection isn't a luxury. It's a survival need. But here's where Frieza's story becomes a perfect case study. His downfall on planet Namek wasn't because Goku was stronger. It was because Frieza couldn't understand emotional motivation. When Krillin died and Goku transformed into a Super Saiyan, Frieza was confused. Why does he care this much about a weak human? He couldn't compute it. Love, friendship, sacrifice. These were foreign concepts, and that blind spot cost him everything. Quick thing, if you're finding this valuable, hit that like button. It genuinely helps more people discover these deep dives. And if you want more psychological breakdowns of anime and life, subscribe. We're building something special here, and I want you part of it. Now here's the really scary part. Even if you think you're handling the emotional suppression well, your body is keeping score. There's this psychological concept called ironic process theory. Basically, the harder you try not to think about something, the more it dominates your mind. Try right now. Don't think about a pink elephant. What just popped into your head? Exactly. Emotions work the same way. You can't just bury them and expect them to stay buried. They're like a beach ball you're holding underwater. You can do it for a while, sure. Your arms are strong. But the pressure builds. You get tired. And eventually, that ball is going to explode to the surface, and when it does, it's going to hit you in the face. This shows up as random anxiety attacks, unexplained anger, burnout, physical illness. Your body starts screaming what your mouth won't say. You know what's wild? The moment Frieza loses everything, there's another character standing right there who shows us a completely different way. Goku. And before you roll your eyes thinking this is going to be some believe in friendship speech, hear me out. Because what Goku does is actually backed by neuroscience, and it's something you can use tomorrow. When Krillin dies, Goku doesn't suppress his emotions. He feels the rage, the grief, the pain fully. It rips through him. But here's the difference. He doesn't let it control him, and he doesn't bury it. He transforms it. That anger becomes fuel. That pain becomes clarity. He processes it in real time and channels it into purpose. That's what the Super Saiyan transformation actually represents. Emotional integration, not emotional suppression. So how do you actually do this in real life? There's a neuroscientist named Dan Siegel who talks about this concept. Name it to tame it. When you're feeling something intense, stop and literally label it. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling rejected. I'm feeling angry. Research shows that just naming your emotion reduces its intensity by activating your prefrontal cortex. It's like you're telling your brain, hey, I see you, I'm not ignoring this. Then there's cognitive reappraisal. Instead of suppressing the feeling or drowning in it, you reframe it. That nervousness before your presentation, that's not weakness. That's your body preparing you to perform. That heartbreak, that's proof you loved deeply, and that capacity is your strength, not your flaw. And here's something most people get wrong. Vulnerability isn't the opposite of strength. Researcher Brené Brown spent years studying this, and her findings flip everything on its head. The people who live the most wholehearted, successful, connected lives, they're not the ones who never feel fear. They're the ones who feel it and do the thing anyway. They're the ones who say, I'm struggling, instead of, I'm fine. That's courage. So let me ask you directly, what emotion have you been running from? What feeling have you shoved down so deep you forgot it was there? Because I'm going to tell you something that might sting a bit. That thing you're avoiding? It's running your life right now. It's making decisions for you. It's showing up in ways you don't even recognize. You don't have to be Frieza, isolated on a throne of ice, powerful but completely alone. But you also don't have to be overwhelmed, drowning in every feeling that comes your way. There's a third option. Feel it. Name it. Use it. Let it make you human, not weak. Because the real power, it's not feeling nothing. It's feeling everything and still choosing who you become.